You go back and forth like a yo-yo, up and down, you got me.
Hello you guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kailin and I post videos every single Saturday. I post videos mainly about eating disorder recovery and lifestyle, so if you do like videos like that, feel free to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe down below, and you can also turn on the bell notification if you want to be notified every single time I upload. So in this video, we are going to be talking about diets. Okay? We're gonna be identifying diet habits that you might have. We're going to be talking about diet culture and how toxic it is. We're also going to be talking about sneaky diet culture and things that perhaps you're doing that are detrimental to your intuitive eating journey or to just your life in general. We're also going to discuss why diets are detrimental to your health, and then what you can do to actively combat diet culture and all of those diety thoughts that you might have in your head. I also have a couple of questions that you guys asked me on Instagram that I'm going to answer at the end of this video, so stay tuned for those diet related questions as well. So before we begin, let's pinpoint some blatant diet trends or diets that you might have fallen into. If you want, you can keep track of how many of these things you used to do or how many of these things that you presently do. But before we begin talking about diets, I think that it's really important for you to realize what you've done in the past, what you continue to do today, or anything really like that, you know? Because if you don't know your own diet behaviors or what diet culture has made you do, then it's really hard to fight against them. So some examples of diet culture or diets are counting calories, counting your macros, weighing your food, restricting certain food groups, for example, not eating fat or sugar, or limiting your carbs, or cutting out food groups completely like dairy or grains, not allowing yourself to drink your calories, not allowing yourself to eat snacks with high calories, not allowing yourself to snack between meals at all, classifying food as good or bad, or also just classifying food as clean and like healthy and unhealthy and junk. Always looking at the restaurant menu before you go out to make sure that there is something on there that's clean for you to eat. Avoiding going to restaurants completely. Avoiding eating meals that have been made by somebody else or meals that you don't know what the calories are. Using food as some kind of reward. Always following portion sizes and never truly listening to what your body needs or desires. Compensating for what you eat by the amount that you work out. Googling diets, the new diet trends, what celebrities are doing, looking up for like inspiration on Instagram or online, saving really low calorie meal plans, creating meal plans, having a bunch of fitness or calorie tracking apps on your phone, paying for detox teas, online coaches, diet pills, or continuing to purchase weight loss program after program after program. These are all forms of dieting. These are all forms of the way diet culture has reached into your life and just taken you by the neck and kind of strangled you a little bit, okay? By the way, before we continue on in this video, I want to let you know that most of the information that I'm going to be speaking about in this video were taken from two sources. The first one was the Intuitive Eating Workbook, and the second one was Just Eat It by Laura Thomas. I'm going to link both of them in the description below. Anyway, let's continue the video. Now that we have pinpointed where you're struggling, or perhaps you've realized some of these diety habits that you have, let's talk about the diet industry. Let's talk about diet culture. So diet culture and the diet industry is really hard to escape. We see it in movies, we see it in television shows, commercials, on Instagram, on Facebook. It's everywhere, okay? And it targets everybody. It doesn't just target people who identify as women, but men, children. Nobody is safe from diet culture at all, and it preys on your insecurities. The diet industry makes a bunch of promises that it cannot keep. It'll say, all right, we're going to get rid of your hip dips. We're going to get rid of your cellulite. We're going to get rid of your varicose veins. We're going to get rid of your muffin top. You know, lose 20 pounds in 10 days. They prey on people's insecurities, and it's a $60 billion industry that makes tons of empty promises that they're not forced to keep. If your diet fails, it's because you're simply not trying hard enough. And I'm here to tell you that this is a load of crap. The diet industry is bananas, okay? It's absolutely bananas. So let's talk about what diets do to your body. Let's talk about what they do to your mind, and let's talk about why people start diets in the first place. Most people begin dieting because they want to lose weight, because they are not happy with their body, because the media perhaps doesn't show natural bodies, perhaps it doesn't reflect the body that you're in, and then consequently you feel like there is something wrong with you. The thing that I want to stress more than anything is that most people are more unhappy and are more miserable after dieting than beforehand. Chances are, in the first couple of months of whatever diet you're gonna follow, you're gonna lose weight. But 95% of people gain that weight back and some. And I'm here to tell you that it's not because you're a failure. It's not because that wasn't the specific diet for you and you have to go try another one. I'm telling you that the reason this statistic is so high is because diets don't work. And not only do they not work, they lead to something very dangerous, which is called weight cycling. So this is where you lose a bunch of weight and then you gain it back. And then you have that mentality of, oh my God, I fell off track. I'm gonna start again on Monday. You know, oh, the new year, it's a clean slate. I'm gonna try again to be good. And then you lose weight again, and then you gain weight, and you lose weight again, and then you gain weight again, or lose weight. I forgot, whatever, you get it. It's a yo-yo system, and this is not good for your body in general to be all over the place. It's definitely normal for your body to gain weight, especially in recovery, or especially when you are recovering from the whole dieting background that you've come from. Of course, you're gonna gain weight, and of course, you're gonna lose weight again when you get to that set point weight. But that whole weight cycling that you go through when you're dieting is not normal and is not healthy. And I also want to stress that weight fluctuations, especially if you are a woman, is very, very common. Your menstrual cycle, what you eat, your weight can fluctuate up to like 7 pounds in a day. And that's why it's so important to not weigh yourself. The scale means absolutely nothing. It has no measure of your worth. Just get rid of it. It doesn't mean anything, okay? Something else that we should understand about diet culture is that they preach thinness. They preach that being thin means that you're fit and means that you are healthy. Being thin means you are beautiful and that you are desirable. Think of The Bachelor. They never have a gorgeous woman who is bigger being pined after all of these large men, right? This paints the narrative that larger people or people who are bigger don't deserve love, that they don't deserve to be desired, that they only deserve to be that sidekick in movies, that fat chubby friend who, you know, is funny but not really the main character because she's not this gorgeous thin blonde blue-eyed gal. Health does not equal thin. I'm gonna say that one more time. Health does not equal thin. Thin does not equal healthy. Health does not have a look, okay? You can't line 10 people up and name how many of them are healthy or not. Health looks so different to everybody. Health is a lifestyle, okay? Let me name a few things. Are you moving every single day? Are you honoring your hunger? Are you sleeping well? Are you taking care of your mental health? Do you have hobbies and passions, things that you get excited about? Do you have healthy relationships with the people in your life? These all equate to health. These all equate to the life that you're living and to the lifestyle that you are living. Health is not a body type. So I just want to get that out there as we continue on with our discussion about diets and about healthy living in general. Health is not a body type. So now that we've established that, let's talk about another issue with dieting. So there's not only weight cycling, which is bad for your health in general, but there's also the psychological aspect. mindset, okay? So your diet was successful for that first month or so, and then it begins to fail, and you don't see the results that you originally wanted to see, and you feel like you're starting to fall off track. And that off track feeling is making you very unsettled. It's making you feel very guilty. It's making you feel like you're not trying hard enough. And it's making you think, okay, come Monday, I'm gonna go all the way into it. I'm gonna give everything I have. I'm going to limit my calories. I'm going to run 5 miles, even though I hate running, you know? Like, you come up with all of these ideas in your head just to reach a certain aesthetic goal. It makes you feel shame for eating certain foods if it doesn't abide by your diet rules. And the fact that you're failing this diet makes you feel ashamed. It makes you feel like a failure. And I just quickly want to say that there is nothing wrong with your body. There is something wrong with your mind. It is only your mind that needs fixing, not your body. I also want to stress that there's nothing wrong with changing your lifestyle. If you want to include, you know, drinking more water or adding more vegetables to your meals, these are totally realistic goals, and these are totally fine as well, because you are adding something to your life. You are bringing something without taking something away. The minute that you start creating food rules, food restrictions, or body rules and regulations in general is where it gets very damaging. You have to find a lifestyle that works for you. So if you like skateboarding, that could be your movement that you find. For me, I love HIIT, which is high intensity interval training. And that's the only exercise I do. I walk my dogs, I do HIIT because I like it, and that's about it. You're never gonna find me just running outside, going for a jog, because I don't enjoy it. I don't force myself to do movement that I don't enjoy, because then I'm gonna develop a poor relationship with the reasons why I'm doing it. The reason I do HIIT is because it makes me feel good. I love the feeling of sweat all over my face, all over my body, and then taking a cold shower afterwards. So find a movement that is healthy for you. So I quickly want to say that movement is not healthy if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. For example, compensating for what you've eaten, trying to shrink your body. These are not healthy reasons to be moving. You have to eat foods that you enjoy and find a movement that works for you. And you and I are not the same. You might hate HIIT, and that is totally okay. You are not the same person as your brother or sister or neighbor or mother or father or influencer or celebrity. You are your own person. So whatever you see online might influence you in a way, but you are your own person, and you have to find what works for you and you alone. I know that a lot of you guys who follow me on Instagram and who also are subscribed to my YouTube channel have had eating disorders in the past, are currently in recovery, or had been on the verge of an eating disorder. And I just want to tell you that most diets do lead to eating disorders. Not all, but a lot. And the reason for this is that dieting often leads to body dissatisfaction, body checking, constant weighing yourself to see if you've made progress, under eating, self-esteem issues, crazy cravings because of your restrictions, which can lead to binge eating. And all of these can attribute to an eating disorder, which is a mental disorder. You cannot tell if somebody has an eating disorder just by looking at them. And this is just another reason why diets are so dangerous, and it is so irresponsible to be promoting diets, especially with the research that we have now proving that they don't work. Another reason why diets tend not to work is because your brain is going to want to rebel against you. We are rebellious creatures. We're human. You tell a child not to climb the tree outside, they're gonna do everything within their power to be able to climb that tree. It just makes sense. So if you tell yourself, that you can't have sugar, chances are when you're at the grocery store, you are going to be craving sugar like you have never before. You're gonna pass the donuts, and even though maybe you never buy them, you're going to want to buy them because you've told yourself that you can't have them. And it's natural for your body and for your brain to crave something that you tell it that it can't have. And it creates a very unhealthy fixation. Whereas originally, if you had felt like, a teaspoon of sugar in your tea or whatever it may be, you would just put it in and continue on with your day. But with this restrictive mindset, you're gonna build up this intense craving until you just stuff yourself sick with it because you've told yourself that you can't have it, and because you've had it already, you already feel like you've thrown everything out the window because you've broken your diet, and then you're super full. You went way beyond the craving, and you're in a very uncomfortable position. And the reason that you have this ravenous behavior most of the time on diets is because you're under fueling yourself. You are not listening to your hunger cues at all. You're throwing them totally out of whack. And your brain is smart enough to know that what you're doing is not healthy. Dieting also makes you go against your natural hunger cues completely. For example, maybe you're forcing yourself to eat 6 small meals a day, even though you're not hungry, and you're forcing yourself to eat them. Or perhaps you're super hungry between meals, but your rule is that you can't snack between meals. And this is so not normal. For all of our other body functions, you know what I'm talking about. For example, if you're really tired, you go to sleep. If you have to pee, you pee. You don't think to yourself, wow, hey, I peed a lot today, so I don't deserve to pee right now. No, you're gonna piss your pants. You don't want that kind of situation. Hunger is just like peeing. It's just like sleeping. It's just like thirst. You need to give into it. You can't ignore it completely. It is your body trying to function. So it's time to stop ignoring it. So you've been dieting for a long time, maybe not even that long, but you've gotten to the point where you have ignored your hunger, where you have all of these food rules that you just don't know how to eat like a normal person anymore. And trust me, I dieted for like 10 flippin' years, maybe even more. I think I started dieting when I was like 8. I'm 23 now, so I've been in active recovery for around 3 years. And when I first started, I did not know how to look at food at all. I saw calories, I saw fat, protein, carbs. I could not see anything besides numbers. I could not see anything besides good or bad, healthy or unhealthy. And this was so not normal. So the first step of intuitive eating is to acknowledge that you have these dieting tendencies and to ditch them. It's much easier said than done, but it is possible, and I am living proof of that. So to start ditching all of these diet mentalities, first, like I mentioned, you have to pinpoint exactly what you're struggling with. Maybe it's counting calories, perhaps it's combating an eating disorder and food rules and food fears, but you have to understand what you're fighting for, what you're fighting against. And you also have to understand that you should not be focusing on your body and how you look during this process. You have to understand that health has a completely different image for everybody. And right now you should just be focusing on your mental relationship with food and with your body and with yourself. And we have to come from a place of self-compassion. And they talk a lot about this in the Intuitive Eating Workbook. Again, it's going to be linked down below, as well as Just Eat It by Laura Thomas. You have to come from a place of love. Like I mentioned, you're going to mess up. Okay? It is not going to be rainbows and sunshine when you first start intuitive eating. You're going to make those dieting mistakes. You're going to fall off the wagon a little bit. You're going to eat past your satiety. And that is totally normal and totally okay. And you can't beat yourself up about it. You just have to keep going, embrace the process, and not be hard on yourself. Talk to yourself the way that you would talk to a friend. You spend the most time with yourself ever. So you don't want to spend time with somebody who's a huge biatch to you. You want to spend time with somebody who has compassion, who has empathy, who is there to pick you up when you fall. You can't have negative self-talk. It's just going to do more damage than good. And replace those diety thoughts with different sentences like, I am conditioned to think this way, but it's okay that I slipped up. However, I'm going to continue to eat when I am hungry. I'm going to continue to try to stop when I am full. I am not going to listen to all of this diet jibber jabber around me. I am doing okay. You have to repeat those mantras to yourself, those compassionate mantras, because the harder you are on yourself, the harder this whole process is going to be. So you might think that we've spoken about all the diets out there. We haven't even touched base, okay? I can't sit here and name all of the diets because we would be here for hours and hours and days and weeks and months. People come up with new diets every single day. But there are some other sneaky ways that diet culture can just trickle on into you, and I want these to be made known. That sentence was really hard to get out. Anyway, let's just name a few. Have you ever been on a juice cleanse? Do you have cheat days? Would you describe days of eating as good or as bad days? Like today's been a really good day or today's been a really bad day. What do those mean? Do you eat clean during the week and then let yourself eat whatever you want during the weekend? Do you have forbidden foods? Do you eat less during the day if you know you're gonna go out to a restaurant at night? Do you compare what you are eating to what other people are eating? Do you feel guilty when you don't exercise? Do you find yourself talking about calories and about bodies often with other people? Do you believe that you need to lose weight in order to be healthy? These are all tricky statements. These are all very sticky ideas that diet culture has entrenched in our mind, and also hidden forms of dieting that diet culture promotes. Maybe your favorite fitness influencer that you follow on Instagram will post about her cheat days, but otherwise she doesn't really talk about diets or anything like that. That can influence how you view food, and it might be time to unfollow her or him. So what I want you to do is to be aware of all of the diet culture that you are partaking in and make the active decision to stop and to just squash it. For example, come up with a small goal. I'll give you a few examples. I will not read the calorie count on snacks. I will delete all of my calorie tracking apps. I will choose something on the menu that sounds good no matter what it is. I will unfollow anybody on social media who promotes dieting. I will throw out my scale. These are all things that you can actively do to fight diet culture. So right now, I want you to think about something that you can actively work on within the next couple of weeks. Within your intuitive eating journey. So maybe something that you can journal about. It could be a journal prompt. Something that I originally did was deleted everything from my phone that had anything to do with calorie counting, meal plan, anything like that, fitness apps. I deleted them all. I also went on my Instagram and unfollowed maybe 200 people. And to this day, if anybody mentions a calorie, a macro, being good or being bad, I unfollow them automatically, and that is for my own mental health and well-being. And quickly, I want to stress that intuitive eating is not a diet. There are 10 principles, what I am talking about, but it is super flexible. You can take some, leave some. There is no rigidity. There are no rules, okay? I really want you to choose yourself. I want you to choose your mental health. Human beings were never meant to fast or diet, and we were never made to take diet pills or pay for plans by expensive coaches that we found on Instagram. A coach will never know you, okay? A friend, a family member, a sibling, nobody knows you like you know you or like your body knows you. What I hoped to get from this video is for you to realize that ditching the diet mentality and ditching all of these diet habits and patterns that you have is the best thing for your overall health and for your well-being. And maybe you've actually realized that you still do some of the things that I spoke about in this video, and that is okay. That's totally normal and it's so okay. But the idea now is that you know that you do these things, and you know that you also have to actively put a stop to them. You have to come from a nurturing place, from an understanding place, and realize that diets do a lot more harm than good. The sun was blinding me, so I'm hoping this spot doesn't blind me as much. But I'm going to move on to the question part of this portion. I just chose the 4 most requested questions, like the 4 questions that were asked most frequently. The first thing is how to stop labeling food as good or as bad. First of all, I just want to mention that it's bad for your mental health in general just to view food in this demonizing way. Because if bad foods is off limits, your body is going to want it a lot more. And you're also going to have this mentality that if you have this bad food and if you have it frequently, then you are bad or your day is bad, and you might as well eat way past your fullness cues because you've already been bad and you're like, screw it, I might as well just ruin ruin my whole day by eating so much of this food that I normally don't allow myself to, and that tends to lead to binging. So the best advice that I can offer you is to gain awareness of what foods you consider bad, because this can be different for everybody. And then I want you to challenge those fears. So for example, if you think that cookies are bad, when you feel like a cookie, instead of saying, oh, I shouldn't have this, cookies are bad, you can say something instead like, cookies are delicious and I really feel like having one right now, and that is okay. And to continue to counteract those thoughts with positive affirmations and positive words like that can probably change the experience. And it doesn't mean that there aren't foods that are more nutrient dense and foods that don't have as many nutrients. That's not the case. There are something that I like to call power foods and things that I like to call pleasure foods, and it's perfectly normal to incorporate both of them within a balanced, healthy diet. And basically all you can do is continue to eat them, continue to challenge them, maybe have a cookie every day after lunch or every day after dinner, and eat them until you don't think that they're bad anymore, until you just think that they're part of food. They're just neutral. Food shouldn't have morality. Another very common question is how to stop counting calories. I have a couple of tips. This is going to require a lot of work on your part, but it's worth it. Delete all of your calorie counting apps. When you find yourself trying to tally at the end of the day or at the end of the meal, physically stop yourself. Say out loud or in your head if you're with people, you know, whatever. I should not be doing this. This is diet culture. Counting calories is not healthy. Counting calories is not sustainable. You can just repeat it and try to never tally your calories at the end of the meal or at the end of the day. Have other people prepare your food. This way you don't know exactly what's going into it. So you can't really count as you're cooking. It's a great way to let go of control as well. Also, prepare food in a way that is not easy to track. Just pour things into the bowl, do big heaping spoonfuls. If you're making a smoothie, for example, just pour in all of the fruit, put in the juice, maybe a scoop of yogurt or whatever you want to put in, but don't use measuring cups, don't use tablespoons, nothing like that. That's just going to trigger your counting calorie tendencies. So just make it very hard for yourself to track. And something that helped me was keeping a journal, and not a food journal. Do not write what you're eating in this journal, but write how you're feeling. So today I did not count calories. I'm very overwhelmed, and you're writing how you feel. Today I didn't count calories, and I felt better, and you can continue to see your progress and stuff like that. And the most important tip that I can give you is keep going, even though it's getting hard, or even though it's really hard for you to lose that kind of control. Just keep going, embrace the progress, embrace the discomfort, and do your best to keep going. Another question was, can following certain fitness influencers influence your diet mentalities? And my answer is absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier on in this video, I unfollowed so many people. Unfollow anybody who you're comparing yourself to. Unfollow anybody who makes you uncomfortable. Unfollow anybody who doesn't have a safe space, or anybody who promotes diet culture or diet products like fit tea or flat tummy tea, any of those. Unfollow them all. It doesn't mean that you have to unfollow these people forever, but during your recovery, it's not normal for you to be comparing yourself to other people or to see diet culture in your timeline. I understand that it's really difficult sometimes to unfollow people or even friends that you followed for a really long time, but you've got to do what's best for you. And like I said, it's not a permanent thing. It could just be for a couple of months or a year or something like that, but it's got to be done. And just rip off the band-aid and maybe just do a little social media cleanse and just go through everybody who you follow and see what they offer to you. And if it's not positive, then maybe it's time to unfollow. Another big question, I can probably do a whole video on this, but it is how to let go of fear of gaining weight and health consequences that come with it. We live in a world that idolizes thinness, that promotes thinness as the pillar of health. And this just simply isn't the case. As I mentioned, health has so many variables and it looks so different on so many different bodies. You also have to come to the understanding that the only person who knows what size your body was destined to be is your own body. And intuitive eating doesn't just mean eating cake and cookies all day until your stomach hurts. That's not what intuitive eating is about. about at all. There's a lot of principles, like I mentioned, and the 10th principle has to do with gentle nutrition. And like I said, I'm going to do a video on all of the principles, so I'm going to go into depth a little bit more about the health aspect when we get to that principle, so that video. But intuitive eating means taking care of your body. It means honoring your body. It means listening to your body and providing fuel for it. It doesn't mean underfueling or overfueling, even though sometimes both of those happen. It honestly means taking care of yourself. And like I said, thinness doesn't equal to health. So weight gain doesn't equal to unhealthy. I gained probably 20, 30 pounds. So I don't own a scale, so I'm not sure exactly how much I gained, but I am the healthiest that I've ever been when it comes to my mindset. Am I at my set point weight? I don't know, probably not, but if I am, I'm perfectly happy with that as well. We have to understand that these preconceived ideas of health and thinness are the ideas that diet culture has spewed onto us. So like I said, I would try to focus a lot less on your weight, but more on your recovery, on your body, how you're feeling and how you're fueling your body, and just letting go of weight stigmatization in general. And the last question that I'm going to be addressing, I think this is the 5th one. I thought there were 4, but on my phone, I also wrote down this one, which is how to eat enough without binging. Like you feel like you're gonna go out of control and binge. I wanna stress that binging often stems from restriction. Your body is so smart, okay? Your body is so flippin' smart. Try to tune in with your hunger. The second principle of intuitive eating has to do with honoring your hunger cues. And like I said, I'm going to make a video about each principle of intuitive eating so it's easier for you guys to follow. But I want you to throw out the idea that, you know, you need 3 meals a day, or, you know, 3 meals and 3 snacks, or whatever it may be. Your body can be hungry whenever, okay? You can be hungry right after dinner. You can be hungry for a second breakfast. You can be hungry for a snack as you're cooking dinner. Try to really tune in with your hunger and never say no. If you start forcing yourself to not eat at certain times or not after a certain time, or if you tell yourself, I'm having lunch in 2 hours, I don't need to eat now, even though your stomach is growling, most likely that's going to lead to a binge, or it's going to lead to you overeating during that meal and then feeling really uncomfy. And most of the time it's because you were restricting. So you also have to make sure that you're eating enough throughout the day. And I do want to stress that at the beginning of intuitive eating, your hunger cues are going to be all over the place. You're going to overeat, and that's okay. It's your body's getting used to being constantly fueled. And it's going to take you a while to get back to your original satiety cues, or to knowing when you're full, or to know when you're hungry. And it's totally normal for those to be completely out of whack. So the biggest things that you can really do is to make sure that you're fueled, never skip meals, don't ignore your hunger or your satiety level, try not to stress about it, and I would also keep a journal to keep track of your emotions and how you're feeling, because binge eating can also stem from emotional instability or a place of neglect or sadness. So keep track of your emotions and keep going. Anyway, I know this was a really long video, but thank you guys so much for watching, and I hoped that you got something from this video, whether you realize that you have diet tendencies, or whether you've come to the realization that diets are bad, or perhaps you've learned a little bit more about intuitive eating. But again, thank you so much, and if you do like videos like this and also want to stay tuned for the other 9 principles of intuitive eating, feel free to give this video a big thumbs up and to leave a comment down below telling me what else you'd like to see. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye guys.